Hey guys, Nuzzy here, and we're back from a YouTube video. Today we have the Doomslayer, or Doom Guy from Doom, versus Doomsday from DC Comics. If you enjoyed this video, dislike and subscribe, and yeah, let's get right into it. For strength attack potency, Doomslayer was capable of taking out Davoth, who is capable of creating infinite universes, or, every universe, and of which there are infinite, therefore making Doom Guy, or Doomslayer, multiversal. Doomsday, meanwhile, at his peak, was capable of beating the living shit out of Darkseid. This is more than likely a Darkseid avatar, Darkseid avatars have been capable of taking multiversal level attacks from an amped Alan Scott. This can be highballed to a low complex multiversal feat, seeing that Alan Scott punched him with the power of a multiverse, and if you go by a multiverse by DC standard, it would include the fifth dimensional bleed, which would therefore then make it low complex multiversal. But, for now, we can bring up that highball in the conclusion, but for now it's mostly just a tie for who's more powerful or not. As for speed, and Doomslayer was capable of dodging the Icon of Sin's meteors, and if we were to highball this a little bit here, the fastest meteors travel out in space is relativistic to the speed of light, that being 0.01% the speed of light, or around 6 million miles per hour. He's also travelled to hell, but there's not really any canon size of hell that's been stated. So we can bring up a if hell is infinite scenario again in the conclusion, but for now he's really just relativistic to the speed of light. As for Doomsday's speed, he was capable of tagging Darkseid on multiple occasions and pretty much outboxing him. He was capable of travelling to the edge of the universe in 5 seconds, calculating out to 1.66 trillion times the speed of light, seeing that the DC universe is much larger than our own. I will also go over the incarnations of DC's multiverse being infinite, although it is more commonly the 300 trillion light years thing, so even then Doomsday has a speed point here. As for durability, and Doomslayer was of course capable of taking hits from Davoth, therefore meaning that his attack potency should scale to his durability, therefore giving him multiversal level durability. It's much the same story for Doomsday. He was capable of taking many attacks from Darkseid, who was capable of fighting, amped Alan Scott, who had the power of multiverse behind him, so the durability point here is also a tie, but, we can highball it more into Doomsday's favour. For the abilities, weaponry, and techniques, most of what Doomsday's versatility comes from is the array of weapons that he has, so, go figure. So if you see something that may be a little bit, off, for Doomslayer, for example, he has electricity manipulation, that is mostly through the weapons that he has. So, to start off with, he has supernatural willpower as an expert marksman and expert in hand-to-hand combat, as you would expect. He can also, survive without oxygen, just in outer space and such. He can also come back to life via eternal life after death, which can essentially respawn him back with his pistol or his entire arsenal. The only downside is this has often been shown to reset the level, so in this case it'd just be to the start of the fight again, and he can mostly do this indefinitely. He has invulnerability with the invulnerability sphere. He has rage amps, which can boost his strength, attack potency, and durability, and a kind of berserk kind of state, which kind of substitutes strategy and intelligence for strength, but is quite effective. He can cause enemies to boil up from the inside. He has energy projection, explosion manipulation, radiation manipulation. He has invisibility with the invisibility power up. He also can adapt, sort of, he got stronger after millions of years of fighting demons. He can heal himself with medkits and just armor drops. He can open portals to across the universe. He has resistance to hellfire manipulation, radiation manipulation, mind manipulation, soul manipulation, and resistance as well to acid manipulation. He also has limited chain manipulation through some of his weapons also. He can manipulate plasma as an expert with a sword. He can also kill immortals just by punching them to death, because that makes sense. He has resistance to madness manipulation. He can damage souls, and kind of stab them. He can double jump. He has genius intellect. He has fire manipulation, magnetism manipulation, illusion creation, speed amplification with the haste sphere. He can amplify the effectiveness of his weapons with the quad damage sphere. He can also absorb life, or life absorption, but really only through demons. He has resistance to extreme temperatures. He also has resistance to corruption also. And he also has resistance to electricity manipulation. He can paralyze people in place via his plasma rifles, which can, stun them for a few seconds. He has ice manipulation via the ice bomb, portal creation via Vega. He can slow down time via Chrono Strike, and as you've seen from the background footage, he can scale walls pretty easily. He can create force fields, he can manipulate reality, or at least warp reality somewhat, and also has resistance to fear manipulation also. As for Doomsday, he's able to adapt and reactively evolve to the enemies that he fights, to the points where he just develops new powers and mid-fight. For example, he's able to replicate a fire breath from Martian Manhunter, despite the fact that before there was no sign of him being able to manipulate fire at all. He also becomes increasingly resistant to the last thing that he took massive damage from also. He has regeneration, he can resurrect himself from the dead. He also does not need to eat or sleep whatsoever, he can breathe in space as well, he's just completely self-sustenant. He can damage intangible beings, he has enhanced senses. He was stated by Superman to be quite acrobatic. He can also absorb solar energy, making him more powerful. He also has body manipulation along with bone and poison manipulation, seeing that he can stretch out his bones and spikes, which can poison the opponent. He has fire breath, energy projection, attack reflection, power nullification, spatial manipulation. He has resistance to ice and mind manipulation, or just different types of attacks. He also has resistance to possession, energy attacks, ultrasonic attacks also. So for his more versatile, I think it is clear that Doomslayer has this, but for his better abilities, that is even more up in the air. Both of them can resurrect himself from the dead, so you could probably argue that Doomslayer has it since he can kill immortals, but Doomsday's ability to adapt on the fly compared to, Doomslayer adapting over time, essentially, way longer than it would take for Doomsday to do so. And even then, he can't just make up new abilities. So, for abilities, I'm probably going to have to give the slight edge to Doomslayer along with the versatility point here. Now for weaknesses, and Doomslayer's armor energy shields don't regenerate, so once they're destroyed, they're destroyed. His berserk form, or kind of berserk mode kind of, he's kind of lost the ability to use his firearms while he's like that. He's still insanely powerful just by, mere punches, but he kind of loses the versatility that he had once he, uses or goes into that state. He takes great pleasure in destroying things, which can sometimes be to his detriment. Many of his weapons aren't on the same caliber of destructive capacity as he is, so while yeah, he is multiversal, some of his weapons aren't quite on that level. And power-ups only last a certain limited amount of time. As for Doomsday, he really does not have any weaknesses whatsoever, none that's really notable. So for his worst weakness, I think it's pretty obvious that Doomslayer has. Now for the conclusion, we've gathered from this that the durability and attack potency point are a draw. Doomsday is faster and has a less vulnerable weakness, meanwhile Doomslayer has the better abilities and is more versatile. So who wins the fight? If you highball Doomsday to low complex multiversal for both durability and attack potency, then there's really nothing that Doomslayer can do. He would just kind of get completely speed blitzed by Doomsday. And even then, the speed difference is so great that he'd be kind of lucky to get many hits on Doomsday at all. Doomslayer has the massive advantage of being able to kill immortals. Doomsday doesn't really have the ability to put Doomslayer down. That being said, with the dumb high things that Doomsday can do, with the ability to just create abilities on the fly based on what his opponent could do, he could very well be able to replicate the immortal killing punches or the attacks that Doomslayer can do. Not only that, but he can, nullify power and reflect attacks as well. So who's to say that, he just reflects the attacks that Doomslayer can produce onto himself. Yeah, he resists many of the things that Doomslayer kind of resists many of the things he can do to himself, but immortal killing attacks to someone who can respawn are going to be pretty, detrimental. So I would say that overall, Doomsday has the edge. Doomslayer would, if the speed was, equal, and like we both use the infinite incarnations or highballs for like their respective speed feats, then I would argue that Doomslayer might have the edge there. Since, well, yeah, you could argue Doomsday is more powerful and more durable. Doomslayer has a way at least of taking him out, and you know, well, he would be like stronger. It's not by a considerable large amount. It is still really close. So yeah, I would argue that Doomsday has the edge in this fight. If you enjoyed this video, dislike and subscribe. If you disagree, then, you know, say why and be salty in the comments below. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.